Hi, geometry. So today we're going to talk a little bit about shapes. We're not going to get too intense into their definitions and into all of their properties. We just need to have a common vocab so when we talk about a rhombus or a trapezoid, we all can picture the same exact shape. So just like there's lots of types of triangles, right? There's an acute triangle, a right triangle, equilateral triangle. There's lots of types of triangles. Well, there's also lots of types of quadrilaterals. Okay, so far we've briefly talked about triangles. We've done a little bit with pentagons, hexagons, maybe even an octagon. We haven't talked about the heptagon here, so I've left it off. But the whole rest of this video is going to focus on what happens when the shape has four sides. Okay, so let's start with the kite. Here's what I would like you to know about kites. First of all, every single kite has a line of symmetry. So if I bring that green line in there, and maybe my drawing's off a little bit, but it has a line of symmetry where the left side would reflect onto the right. Why does that matter, you ask? So it matters because with the line of symmetry, I can think about the reflections that we just talked about, and I know that this side reflects onto this side, so therefore this side's congruent to this side. Okay, next I know that this side reflects over onto this side, and so these two sides become congruent. Okay, so maybe you're looking at this reflection line thinking, well, what about this angle? What about this angle? And you're right, there are a ton of more properties for a kite. But right now, all I need you to do is identify the pattern of how the sides look and which ones are congruent to which ones. That's all we're worried about. Okay, so welcome to the trapezoid. Whoa, Miss Cook, what's going on here? What are those markings? Okay, let's look at this purple trapezoid first. These markings, although maybe not well drawn, they are little arrows. Okay, that's what they're supposed to be, and they mark parallel lines. So the only thing you need to know about a trapezoid is it has one pair of opposite sides that are in fact parallel. Remember, parallel means they do not intersect. So those arrows are denoting parallel lines. Okay, now there is a certain type of trapezoid, so let's put an adjective on it. There's a type of a trapezoid called an isosceles trapezoid. In an isosceles trapezoid, you still have the parallel sides, but the non-parallel sides, which are called the legs, the non-parallel sides are congruent. Okay, that's all I want you to know at this point about a trapezoid. Okay, so let's look at the parallelogram. Look at this word right here. What do you see? You should see the word parallel. What does that tell me? That tells me that both pairs of opposite sides in the parallelogram are in fact parallel. So top and bottom are parallel, and unlike the trapezoid, the left and the right sides are also parallel. Okay, so next, here's what I want you to know. I want you to know the top is congruent to the bottom. The left side is congruent to the right side. So both pairs of opposite sides are also congruent. Now here's what I think of for a parallelogram. Everybody can picture a rectangle. I think of a parallelogram as a rectangle that's been pushed over. It's leaning. That'll help you later when we're trying to figure out the rest of these properties. So two key takeaways for the parallelogram. And there you have it. Okay, so I'm not sure if you know, but rhombi is plural for rhombus. So at this point, end of chapter 1, beginning of chapter 2, what do we want to know about the rhombus? The only thing I'm asking you to know is know that all four sides are in fact equal, okay? And I think of it like a square that's been pushed over. So key takeaway, all four sides are congruent. So on to the rectangle. Here's the thing with the rectangle, right? I can say opposite sides are parallel. That's true. This side's parallel to this side, and the top and the bottom ones are parallel. But right now, really, I'm having you more focus on the fact that the top is congruent to the bottom, and the left side is congruent to the right side. Okay, second property I do think you should be aware of is that a rectangle has all four right angles. So here are your two key takeaways for a rectangle. Both pairs of opposite sides are congruent and parallel, if you want to throw that in, and all four angles are right angles. Okay, so last quadrilateral. Let's look at the square. So again, I could talk about parallel lines. I'm not worried about parallel lines right now. I want you to know that a square, like a rhombus, has four equal sides, four congruent sides. Okay, a square, like a rectangle, has 4 congruent right angles. Here's your 2 key takeaways for a square. 4 congruent sides, 4 congruent right angles.